Imagine this. You're locked out of your apartment after a night of drinking, and the front door seems too complicated to figure out. So naturally, you decide the kitchen window is your best bet, right? Well, one person learned the hard way that sometimes the simplest solution really is the right one. Welcome back to Wow Amazing, everyone. Today we're diving into Volume 20 of our most popular series, the Top 10 Most Stupid Darwin Award Winners. These are the real stories, the confirmed cases that make you wonder how our species managed to survive this long. Before we jump into these tales of poor judgment, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Now buckle up, because this volume contains some of the most mind-blowing examples of what happens when common sense takes a permanent vacation. Number 10, wiring for disaster. Let's kick off our countdown with a tale that proves even professionals can make amateur mistakes when they ignore basic safety rules. It's March 19th, 2006 in Belize, and 26-year-old Kenan is about to recreate one of history's most famous scientific experiments. You remember the story of Benjamin Franklin and his kite, right? The founding father who supposedly discovered that lightning equals electricity by flying a kite during a thunderstorm? Well, Kenan decided this sounded like a fun weekend activity. Kenan wasn't just some random guy with too much time on his hands. He was actually a trained electrician, someone who worked with electrical systems every single day. But apparently, knowing how electricity works in theory and applying that knowledge in practice are two very different things. Kenan had a kite, but the string was too short for his liking. No problem, he thought. He'd just extend it with some thin copper wire he had lying around. Anyone who's taken a basic science class knows that copper is an excellent conductor of electricity, but somehow this crucial fact seemed to escape our weekend scientist. As fate would have it, that copper wire made contact with a high-tension power line. In an instant, a terminal bolt of electrical energy came sizzling down toward Kenan, delivering far more voltage than Franklin ever encountered. The result was immediate and fatal. Later, when investigators spoke with Kenan's father, the man could only shake his head in disbelief. As he put it, his son was an electrician and should have known better. This tragic story reminds us that professional knowledge doesn't automatically translate to common sense, especially when we're distracted by the excitement of trying something new. Number 9, the final performance. Speaking of people who should have known better, our next Darwin Award winner proves that some skills are best left in the past, no matter how confident we feel about our abilities. It's January 16th, 2005, in sunny Florida, where 23-year-old Molly and her husband Todd have checked into a local motel for what we can only assume was some quality time together. As Molly entered their second-floor room, she immediately noticed the balcony that overlooked a concrete patio below. Most people would see the safety railing and think, nice view. But Molly saw something else entirely, an opportunity to relive her glory days. You see, Molly had been a gymnast in her younger years, and apparently the sight of that railing brought back fond memories of her athletic past. With the confidence that only comes from years of training, Molly called out to her husband with what would become her final words, "Watch to see what I can still do." Todd watched as his wife approached the railing, preparing to demonstrate the handstand routine she used to perform with ease. Molly executed a flip onto the balcony railing, just like she remembered doing countless times before. For a brief moment, she was balanced perfectly, reliving those days when gymnastics was second nature. But time has a way of changing our bodies. Even when our minds haven't caught up, the strength and balance that had once been automatic were no longer there. Molly toppled over the far side of the railing, falling 15 feet and slamming into the concrete patio below. She was rushed to the hospital but was pronounced dead upon arrival. This heartbreaking story serves as a reminder that while our spirits may remain young, our bodies age in ways we don't always recognize, and some performances are simply too dangerous to attempt without proper safety measures. Number 8, the wrong way home. From overconfidence to poor decision-making under the influence, our next story shows how a simple problem can lead to a fatal solution when alcohol impairs our judgment. It's May 26, 2004, in Wolfsburg, Austria, and an unemployed man has just returned home after what appears to have been a very long night of drinking and drug use. There's just one small problem. He's locked himself out of his apartment. Now, most of us have been in this situation before. You're standing outside your own front door, patting down your pockets, hoping your keys will magically appear. It's frustrating, but it's hardly a life-threatening emergency. For our intoxicated friend, however, the front door seemed like an impossible puzzle. Fortunately, he had what seemed like a brilliant backup plan: the kitchen window. The apartment manager would later discover a bizarre scene: a pair of legs sticking out of a kitchen window, with the rest of the body nowhere to be seen. When police entered the apartment, they found the deceased man with his head submerged in a sink full of hot water. Here's what investigators believe happened. The kitchen window was designed to tilt outward at the base, creating just enough space for a person to squeeze through, if they were small enough and sober enough to navigate the tight opening. Our victim had managed to get his head and shoulders through the window, but then became stuck. While flailing around trying to free himself, he accidentally turned on the hot water tap. The tragic irony? Police found his house keys in his pants pocket. The front door had been an option all along. Number 7. Over the dam. It's July 24th, 2004 in Wisconsin, and 26-year-old Barbara is about to attempt the ultimate shortcut between the upper Dells and the lower Dells. Barbara had decided to take her personal watercraft on what she thought would be an exciting adventure. Unfortunately, her route would take her past numerous warning signs that clearly stated the dangers ahead. These weren't subtle suggestions, mind you. The signs specifically warned watercraft operators to slow down because of imminent danger. She piloted her watercraft at high speed past every single warning sign, weaving through the support posts of not one but 2 separate bridges, one for trains and one for cars. Her 24-year-old passenger was screaming for her to stop, pleading with her to reconsider this dangerous course of action. Finally, realizing that Barbara wasn't going to listen to reason, the passenger made the smart choice and jumped off at the last possible moment. Barbara, however, was committed to her plan. She soared over that dam just like the little fish in the song. But reality has a way of crushing such moments. Barbara crash-landed on the concrete spillway below, dying instantly from massive head injuries. Nearby residents told police that Barbara had been driving like a maniac all day, speeding through no-wake zones near the shore, despite multiple posted warnings. Blood tests later revealed that she had also been drinking heavily, which explained her disregard for safety precautions. Indeed, this tragic story speaks volumes about the dangers of combining alcohol, speed, and a stubborn refusal to heed warning signs. Number 6. Love in the wrong place. From dangerous stunts to dangerous romance, our next entry proves that passion can override even the most basic survival instincts. It's March 3rd, 2002, in England, where Kim and Paul are leaving a Sheffield pub after a romantic evening. They noticed a burned-out streetlight creating darkness on the road and decided this was the perfect spot for an intimate encounter. Witnesses reported the couple lying directly on the white line in the middle of the road, completely absorbed in their passion. And you know what makes it really crazy? 3 different people tried to warn them about the danger. First, a car driver called out a warning. They ignored him completely. Then an off-duty paramedic honked and shouted, "You want to get up, otherwise you'll be run over." The man simply replied, "Cheers, mate," while his partner laughed. A bus driver had to swerve dramatically, driving on the curb to avoid their impromptu bedroom. Finally, a pedestrian warned them another bus was approaching. Despite all these warnings, Kim and Paul continued, oblivious to the small bus bearing down on them. The driver, struggling to see in the darkness, mistook the moving shape for rubbish and couldn't stop in time. At midnight, both were struck and killed instantly. The real tragedy: the innocent bus driver was fined for careless driving and lost his license for 6 months, despite police stating that expecting a driver to anticipate pedestrians lying in the road is out of the ordinary. Fortunately, his employers recognized he was an excellent employee and gave him other duties during suspension. This bizarre story certainly answers the age-old question about why we don't conduct romance in the middle of busy streets, because sometimes love really can be deadly. Number 5. Timing is everything. Sometimes the most carefully planned operations can fail due to the smallest overlooked details, as our next Darwin Award winners discovered in the most explosive way possible. It's September 5th, 1999, in Jerusalem, during a time of political tension and conflict in the region. Israel had decided to switch from daylight saving time to standard time earlier than usual to accommodate a week of pre-sunrise religious prayers. The Palestinians, however, refused to follow what they called Zionist time, preferring to stick with daylight saving time for 2 more weeks. This created a scheduling nightmare that would have far-reaching and deadly consequences. At precisely 5:30 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, 2 coordinated car bombs exploded simultaneously in different cities. 3 terrorists who were transporting these devices were killed instantly. Initially, investigators assumed the bombs had been detonated accidentally by inexperienced bomb makers who had made some kind of technical error. But a closer examination revealed the truth behind these premature explosions. The bombs had been prepared in a Palestinian-controlled area by experts who knew exactly what they were doing. The timing mechanisms had been set perfectly for daylight saving time. However, the drivers who picked up the bombs were operating on standard time, having already made the switch that Israel had implemented. When they collected their deadly cargo, nobody thought to ask whose watch had been used to set the timing mechanism. This simple oversight would prove fatal. The cars were still traveling to their intended targets when the explosives detonated exactly on schedule. Daylight saving time schedule, that is. The result was 3 terrorists accidentally eliminating themselves due to a time zone confusion that could have been avoided with a simple question. This incredible story proves that even the most dangerous operations can be undone by the smallest communication failures, and that attention to detail truly is a matter of life and death. Number 4, gone fishing, gone forever. It's May 25, 1999 in Ukraine, where a 43-year-old fisherman has decided that traditional fishing methods are far too slow and inefficient for his needs. Why spend hours waiting for fish to bite when you can simply electrocute them and watch them float to the surface? Our innovative angler had devised what he thought was a foolproof plan. He connected cables directly to the main power supply of his home and trailed the live wire into the river. The electric shock worked exactly as intended. Fish throughout the area were instantly killed and floated belly up to the surface, ready for easy collection. Pleased with his ingenious fishing method, the man waded into the electrified water to gather his abundant catch. There was just one small problem with his brilliant plan. He had forgotten to remove the live wire from the water before entering it himself. The same electrical current that had efficiently killed the fish worked just as effectively on the fisherman. He suffered the exact same fate as his intended catch, floating belly up in the very water he had electrified. In a twist that makes this story even more tragic, investigators later learned that the man had been preparing this fishing expedition for a morning meal to commemorate the first anniversary of his mother-in-law's death. Instead of honoring her memory, he ended up joining her in the afterlife due to his shocking lack of foresight. Number 3, flames of revenge. From accidental electrocution to intentional destruction, our next story shows how revenge can backfire in the most literal way possible. It's November 17, 1999, in Germany, where a bitter divorce has left 40-year-old Uwe with almost nothing except his traditional lederhosen and a burning desire for revenge. The divorce proceedings had been particularly harsh. Uwe had lost virtually everything in the settlement, including his house, which was awarded to his 37-year-old ex-wife, Verena. Angry about losing in court, Uwe grabbed his drill and went down to the basement of what was now his ex-wife's house. His plan was simple but destructive. He would bore several holes into the large oil tank and set fire to the fuel as it poured out. The plan worked perfectly, at least initially. Uwe successfully drilled the holes, ignited the flowing oil, and watched with satisfaction as the entire basement became engulfed in flames within seconds. His moment of triumph, however, was incredibly short-lived. As the fire quickly spread, Uwe realized he'd made a huge mistake. He was still in the basement of the burning house. What started as the perfect revenge turned into a massive blaze, with Uwe stuck right in the middle of it. Despite trying desperately to get out, Uwe died in the fire he had started himself. Verena, his ex-wife, got the last laugh, though acquaintances described her reaction as somewhat maniacal. Number 2, what's new, Pussycat? Our runner-up story proves that reading warning signs isn't just a suggestion, it's a survival skill. It's May 1999 in Spain, where 2 German tourists, Wilhelm and his companion, are enjoying their final day at Safari Park in Alicante. Park management had posted warning signs throughout the facility in multiple languages, including German. The instructions were crystal clear: remain in your vehicle at all times, keep windows closed, and never exit your car. These weren't casual suggestions. They were life-saving rules designed to prevent exactly what was about to happen. Wilhelm and his companion were driving through the Tiger Grotto, home to 3 Bengal tigers aged 10 to 12 years old. For reasons completely unclear to investigators, the tourists decided to park their car, get out, and lock the doors behind them. Think about that. They were in an enclosure with 3 apex predators, chose to leave their only refuge, then locked themselves out of it. The tigers lurking in nearby brush immediately spotted this unexpected opportunity. All 3 big cats pounced simultaneously, breaking the tourists' necks and silencing their screams. Security guards rushed to the scene, but arrived too late, finding a horrific scene: the woman beheaded, the man disemboweled. This tragic story serves as a stark reminder that wild animals are exactly that: wild. Warning signs aren't put in place to limit our fun, they're installed to keep us alive. When sharing space with apex predators, the rules aren't optional, they're the difference between an exciting vacation and becoming someone else's lunch. Number 1, fish out of water. Our number 1 Darwin Award winner takes us to Australia for a story so bizarre that it defies all logic and explanation. It's November 29th, 1995 in Melbourne, where the badly decomposed remains of 49-year-old Neil are discovered in a paddock near Tolando Reservoir. When police arrived at the scene, they encountered something they had never seen before in their careers: a man wearing what they described as a heavy green plastic bodysuit constructed from old waterbed material. The suit completely enclosed Neil's body like a maritime mummy, constricting his legs into a single mermaid-style tail. The only openings in the entire outfit were 2 small eye holes and a full-length zipper that ran along the spine. To make this even more restrictive, the zipper could only be opened from the outside, meaning that once Neil was sealed inside, he couldn't escape without assistance. The Melbourne Fish Costume Bureau, yes, that's apparently a real organization, was quick to point out that this particular outfit was not approved for actual swimming. Neil was discovered less than 1 kilometer from Tolando Lake, suggesting that he had attempted to swim home while wearing this aquatic straitjacket. Investigators found a second yellow-colored fish suit in his garage, indicating that this wasn't his first experiment with marine cosplay. The psychological motivation behind Neil's fatal excursion remains a complete mystery. Police learned that he was taking medications for epilepsy and diabetes, and they speculated that his behavior might have had a chemical basis. Local residents, however, had their own theories about Neil's aquatic obsession. He wanted to be a fish, one unnamed resident told investigators, recalling previous incidents where Neil would swing from a rope while wearing similar suits at the lake. With Neil's death, Melbourne's fish impersonation fatality toll rose to 1, an infinite percentage increase from the previous year's total of 0. This incredible story reminds us that some fantasies are best left as fantasies, and that the desire to be something cannot sometimes lead us to make choices that are not just impractical, but deadly. Bonus entry: fetch this. Just when you think you've heard the most ridiculous Darwin Award story possible, our bonus entry proves that human stupidity truly knows no bounds. It's July 29th, 2002, in Ukraine, where Uviana village residents are awakened by a massive explosion in the middle of the night. The source? A confrontation between 2 men that escalated beyond anyone's imagination. A 40-year-old deputy of the local administration board was walking his dog when he encountered a police academy cadet escorting 2 women home. The cadet, showing commendable dedication, pointed out that the deputy's dog was required by law to be on a lead and wearing a muzzle. Most people might apologize and promise to follow the rules. After all, the cadet was simply doing his job. But our deputy was apparently not most people. The men began arguing about dog regulations, with the dispute growing heated. The deputy, outraged that a mere cadet would dare correct someone of his important position, decided words were insufficient. In what ranks as one of the most disproportionate responses in conflict resolution history, the deputy pulled out a military RGD 5-hand grenade and threw it at the cadet's feet. Here's where this story takes an unpredictable turn. The deputy's well-trained dog, seeing his master throw what appeared to be a ball, immediately ran to fetch the object. The loyal dog grabbed the live grenade and proudly returned it to his master, just as he'd been trained to do with countless harmless objects. The explosion that followed killed both the deputy and his faithful companion instantly. This explosive tale serves as the ultimate reminder that sometimes the very training we're most proud of, whether it's a dog's obedience or our access to dangerous tools, can become our downfall when combined with poor judgment and uncontrolled anger. And there you have it, folks. Another complete collection of humanity's most spectacular failures in basic decision-making. From fish costumes to hand grenades, from romantic roads to tiger enclosures, this volume has shown us that when it comes to poor judgment, creativity knows absolutely no bounds. If you enjoyed these incredible tales of evolution in action, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of human nature at its most bewildering. Share this video with anyone who could use a reminder that common sense isn't actually that common. As always, stay smart, stay safe, and remember that Darwin is always watching, taking notes, and occasionally shaking his head in amazement. This has been Wow Amazing, and we'll see you in the next volume where we'll discover even more ways that people have managed to outsmart themselves right out of the gene pool. This is Wow Amazing, signing off until next time.